Crew with me on stage. Now, that was a very dominant showing against DRX. The energy was so high on the team. So tell us what the buildup of momentum was like, especially in those first few rounds. At what point did you realize that Haven was yours?
Well, the team is so happy to be here. It was a hard year for us, and to finally be able to qualify and be part of this has everybody happy and hype, and we're trying to reflect that in game. So I think that we were able to do it on Haven, and we will look to do the same on Abyss.
Well, congratulations. I think it definitely shows. So we're going to see if Crew can close this one out.
Well, I think, you know, it's safe to say,
I literally gave you the sign. You still took that long to get out. It's
I'm a gosh darn genius. That's right, folks. Look at these predictions right here. Oh, yeah. Golden Boy up on top while the rest of the crew out here just living in the past. So
Rest
I
of the
think
crew. Nice.
To quote my one of my favorite factions in all professional wrestling, suck it.
That's not a quote. That's in the common vernacular. You don't need to quote something that everyone says.
All right, wait, well, where's Sideshow and Brent? They see me over there on the other side. Look at this.
What are you Can we talk about the game?
Let's go ahead and talk about the game, Mimi. And what we just saw was Crew utter dominate. I mean, honestly, though, real talk. That I did. Look, jokes aside.
But you should attribute real talk, because who said that?
I'm gonna punch you in the neck.
Tom, talk about this round.
So, yeah. I was just going to say that Crew's looking fantastic, and I did not expect that.
Yeah, I also think on the other side, things looked a little bit rough. Like odd timing there from Marco taking a risk. You know that there was a plan for an attempted trade and pincer from Buzz. He's now so far behind everything else. It just gives players like Shy 1v1 battles. Well, the first one wasn't even a battle because the other player couldn't even do anything.
And you see on the other side for Crew, while all that was going on, they've instantly taken a lobby control uncontested, and because of how quick this Xeon is, they've rotated through to have a fast retake coming through from this flank and absolutely rinsed them. I think that was a super telegraphed play from DRX, but also credit to Crew. They were taking advantage, but really, this was a massive underperformance, I think, compared to what DRX was showing regionally. A lot of individual mistakes. I think a lot of kind of failure to adapt, right? Crew was playing the same flood defend with the same site smoke on A, round after round, and DRX kept not disrupting it, not getting proactive enough to shut that down, not taking the pause once they tapped the spike to refight in. So many mistakes.
Time to put the suit on.
You think the suit's the issue? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our Verizon high-speed moment. You got Kesnet with this beautiful 4K.
Kesnet?
Oh,
no
yeah.
way.
It is, and I mean, he just went all Palpatine fingers on these fools, and it worked out for him. I mean, look, real talk though, DRX certainly was not prepared for the speed at which Crew, as we had noted before,
he was like yeeting himself out heaven at times. Like the guy was just on one. And the craziest thing, I think that might be like the best performance I've ever seen from Melzer. Like the guy,
dude, it was ridiculous,
just rinsing everyone on the other side. I think he's the oldest player in the server by quite a margin. Clearly, age doesn't matter, you know, GB.
Ain't that the truth, baby? That's right, old and beautiful. But I will say though that while I was enthusiastic about Crew coming into this is not the result that I or anyone would have expected.
No, I mean, Crew, for all we should be critical of DRX, Crew, I think, leveled up. The protocols were really good. The flood retakes, the synergy between these players was absolutely on point. I think Heat's utility combined with MTA to set Kesnet up was always on point. I mean, both of them were kind of the passenger princess mode with Melzer and Kesnet having the games they were. But it was still excellent stuff from this squad.
Now, maybe the foresight of Lionel Messi. He might have seen that one coming. Obviously a big part of Crew. But honestly, it really was. It was a blitz, it's a blink and you miss it sort of game. And this is what we always talk about when we talk about the likes of Crew. It's like sometimes they just come into events like this, they come into Champions, you look at them and you go, I don't expect this team to do a massive amount, like maybe they'll get a map here or there. They just destroyed DRX.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time Crew had a dominating performance like that at a global event.
No.
Ever.
Well, I mean, the last global event was a year ago, and they went out in 2 series swiftly. This is a big level up for this Crew team, and I mean, they're really showing that the changes they've made, the way they prepared for this event, they are a different team than the one that floundered at Champs 23.
Yeah, and you know, I think also a lot of credit I think just goes to the team kind of coming in. You heard Kesnet in that post or the pre-match interview with Mika. Just coming in with a very relaxed demeanor, right? We're gonna show everyone what we can do, and that has kind of been Crew's whole gimmick all throughout the year. It's like, you know, we'll figure this out. We'll make it happen. You know, we'll swap out RIGL, bring in someone else, and hey, you know what? We'll see if it works. And
it's funny because
you can't keep getting away with this.
If you look at them in the server, they're not relaxed at all. They're the most fired up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. I feel like they're one of those teams that rolls off their emotion. If you get those openings, you start strong, which they did. They look so good.
Yeah, so scary there. But now let's go ahead and see what's going on with Coach Termy over at the DRX camp. We got Mika standing by with Jen.
Hey guys, I'm now here with Termy of DRX and Jen to help with some translation. Now, Coach Termy, that was a tough map. It was a really, really frustrating game. So tell us, what did you tell the team in order for them to reset for map number 2, which will be your map pick of Abyss?
감독님 1세트는 일단 크루에게 크게 내주고 말았는데요. 2세트 앞두고 선수들에게 어떤 얘기를 해주셨을까요?
일단 저희가 생각했던 것보다 실제로 크루랑 상대를 해보니까 피지컬적인 부분에서 워낙에 좋다고 느껴졌고요. 그런 부분에서 선수들이 좀 당황한 것 같고 저희가 하던 플레이가 잘 안 됐기 때문에 좀 어느 정도 감안하고 저희 할 거 잘 하자라는 얘기를 많이 했고요. 네, 선수들의 멘탈은 크게 무너지지 않은 상태입니다.
We knew that, you know, coming into Crew's matchup, we knew that they know how to shoot, but today their individual performance was way more than how we expected it to be. So they were shooting way better than how much we expected them to. So I just told them, you know, let's play our own game and do not take it by surprise. Just stay confident, stay calm and collected, and let's do our own thing.
Well, let's see if that confidence can pull through for the second map for DRX.
I mean, you want to play your own game here, but the reality is Crew just played you like a fiddle, and they were able to lock up that 13-2 in relatively strong fashion. Now we make our way over to Abyss.
And I'm going to be real. I worry about DRX's ability to bounce back. They have a lot of young, new players that haven't been in this position on a global stage before. They did pull off some great stuff back home in Pacific, but I think on this stage you saw their faces, you saw kind of how taken aback they were by Crew's style. It's a worrying sign.
I think even more worrying than that is that they got boomed the last time they played this by a team that literally is the epitome of that, PaperX. They lost to a Neon Phoenix comp on Abyss, a Neon Phoenix. Now, do I think that the other side are going to do that? Do I think Crew will do that here? Probably not. But
definitely not.
They almost embody that, this more aggressive style, and they have switched things up. I like the Harbor.
So they're taking a note from the other LATAM team out of Americas in this one by pulling out the Harbor. I think a lot of the cool stuff.
Omen?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a duelist-less comp. This is a little unique. The Harbor's really cool. To take mid control, you can do a lot of walk-ups off the wall. It's super disruptive to the normal style, but playing no dive besides that Omen is really interesting.
He's going to do some wild stuff with that teleport.
I don't think he's ever played Omen before.
Yeah. He's going to do some wild stuff with that teleport. He's going to try and get around them and be real clever with it. That's what I think.
I mean, DRX's prep has to be completely boomed at this point. You just lost 13-2. This is not a good position for that Korean squad to be in.
Yeah, not at all. This could very well be a quick one if Crew manages to lock up the 2-0. Can they do it? To send it back over to your casters, Brendan Sideshow, for the call.
We're about to find out as well just how cooked it is, chat. I mean, this is crazy stuff. I mean, a no duel has come from Crew. They are clearly feeling like they are in fully the driving seat right now. And I think the question remains that we were asking on that first map. The DRX have that gusto, you know, to really pick themselves back up after just getting slapped around, dismissed on home soil. Listen, this is a team that's been looking for that redemption, but when you're getting battered like that, it's a hard ask.
Termy thought it came down to firepower, and DRX are coming into the pistol with 3 sheriffs. So if that's not enough to shore up the firepower gap, I don't know what will be.
It's off angle. It's a common one. You see a lot of Jet players on Abyss playing just to try and catch that contact early on, and he sees it, signs of life, but he can't escape. Bloody hell, suppressed by the knife, so he actually couldn't dash in and away. There's a dart's going to be used nice and early. Crew not committing past that point, just waiting it out and walking back up. But Foxy9 quick to respond, takes up that space once more, but as he swings out, he's not expecting again Crew to be in these spots. It's disjointed, it's individualistic at its core, and DRX not enough for them to really win out this map. It's going to have to hit some shots and land them they will. At least Mako into the moment has made it that 2 versus 2 onto this pistol round. They need this win, they need it now. Damage done almost single digits to a lot of the Mako, and a distraction necessary and enough for Flashback to just respond from the side.
Crew did a decent job of getting into position, and they read the fact that DRX wanted to go for a flood. But once they planted safe back here, there was no exit. They were just stuck. It was nice patience from Flashback and Mako there to just keep them trapped in the back of sight and then collect the kills. The Sheriff's doing a lot of work as well. So that's a good start to the map. They've already got half as many rounds as they did on Haven. And they're expected to be able to get the second, so maybe at least that'll settle the nerves for these DRX players.
Yes, this should do. At least a better beginning for them. Large part of DRX when they're on the defensive side of their Abyss is setting up Buzz with either the Operator, the Outlaw, long sight lines, trying to defend down B, launching down towards mid.
That is a classic way that DRX have been playing this map. They've been trying to get massive value out of the op, and on rounds where they don't have it, they'll set up some kind of like flash and dash play, aggressive out of B or aggressive through mid. So watch out for those at the start of rounds. Watch out for Kesnit!
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, if you're not awake after that, you will be. This guy is ridiculous, Kesnit. He's playing the Omen as well. I mean, a lot to make out from this crew comp.
So he has actually played Omen once before, weirdly. You don't ask me when. I've no idea. I was just looking at the stats and, all right, okay, apparently he's played it once. So, very experienced, Kesnit, on the Omen.
Of course. Yep. To be expected.
He knows all the tech, like buy a Sheriff and kill them in round 2.
Yeah.
Tens loves that one.
With the mid player taken out, though, Buzz gone. It's a big gap in through. You can already see the pings on the minimap from DRX. They're worried in case there are those lurking players. And the Harbor Wall, Melzer holding it down at least. He will be able to separate out most of this site. Foxy9 wants to play close now, avoiding letting them even getting into the site here in front of the Cove. It's very heads up, but he's going to be overwhelmed anyway. Outlaw into the hands, flashback into the secondary, but not able to land the Sheriff shot. Still, Mako is here, waiting to receive. They're all going down to the classic right clicks. It's a disaster right now for DRX.
They'd won the pistol. They'd won the pistol. They'd given themselves a little bit of breathing room to work with after getting flattened 13-2 on Haven. And then Kesnit gets that opening pick and it all spirals out of control.
No way.
The decision to play up aggressive at the A choke point as well, I didn't mind it. He got in front of the Cove, he got inside of it, but there was just way too many players.
Yeah.
And against, when you're on an anti-eco there, you're playing into the people with classics in hand. It's just, it's a fine decision on a rifle round, bad decision on an anti-eco, I think. MTA's already got null command online, but it's Heat's ability to get out of here unscathed.
Yeah.
That might be more important, because he's just donated a Vandal over. They're looking to recover this.
Kesnit, he's just going for it, man. He's not shying away from the fight. Does he realize that one player slipped past him, though, and including that rifle, picked up, at least the guns, but flashback off to the side. And as well, we'll just put one straight to the dome, but lots of players ready to receive, and there will be no resurgence, at least from DRX into that round. Just a little bit of damage, but again, the guns being at least picked back up, and not even a worry, I think, for Crew. If you're looking at the money situation, you'd think they were cheating. You've got about 7K in the bank on some of the players.
There is one positive here for DRX, though. They got a kill with their bundle.
And they are playing for that.
Yeah.
They are playing for that.
I mean, they've got to be getting value here out of Buzz's Operator.
They need to.
I think that's an enormous win condition for them.
And Buzz was unbelievable in the playoffs, at least regionally in Pacific. I was so high up on him, man. I had him like as my second highest player in terms of who I was rating coming into the event.
Now that's crazy.
I've got the opposite of the Midas touch, because so far I'm not predicting any team correctly or player. But Buzz needs to get value, and his opping has been consistent in the past. This time, though, the wall rips its way across, and as well with these doors broken, DRX are watching it with a crossfire said, but it weakens a lot of the other extremities as a result. Asks a lot of them.
Buzz can shore up the B extremity, so it's only really A that you're worried about. But once things go silent, now you're concerned that Crew are grouping up and about to hit into, you know, Buzz with a drone to push him off the angle, or hit into A. Mako's going to be confident enough to jiggle peek out A and get a little bit of information, a bit of security there. So they're feeling good about the A site right now, but all throughout, they're having to be careful towards mid. 0 point now thrown out towards A main again. DRX still feel like A is safe, and that's exactly the timing that Crew are using to group up straight after that 0 point. It's perfect calling from Melza.
Exactly, and Kesnet's still inserted as well, which means Foxy9 has to have his eyes directed into a different location. Mako is the sole recipient of all of this aggression of smoke. Just lay it down nice and early and sprays it away and will play for his life. But the door's going to be broken. Still trying to take this fight offset with the movement. It's nice by Flashback. He does answer straight back into it. Drone. It's going to be used, pressing forwards. Melzer's alone, though, an isolated resed up. Adjustment, transferring with the rifles, and now no time. Not available here for Crew. They will be dropping and falling. 2 for 2 now in terms of the rounds. DRX, better beginning than Haven at least.
DRX continue to have that awareness of the mid insert, knowing that somebody could still be there, could be using that earlier map control to slink through. And Mako went for the same play inside the smoke towards A main that we'd seen on that fateful anti-eco that looked like it was going to send Abyss spiraling in the same direction as Haven. DRX have got there too. Now it's time to push further forwards. They're not going into this op on B. It's only ever been a single player to make sure and give them information.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's a hard read.
Hard read, hard anti-strat.
DRX have been playing a ton of Abyss.
Yeah.
If you wanted to look at any team in the world, I think DRX, I don't have the numbers to hand, but I think DRX have played it the most. It feels like they opt into it a lot. They've been picking it tons in Pacific. So they're comfortable there, but it also means you kind of have a read on how they play. And they do the same stuff a lot, like this position from Buzz. I'm surprised he's still here, to be honest.
Yeah, but there's a blind spot in the cam too, so he's available to be perched up here. Anybody to break the drone? No, it's him himself who has to commit to this, and a lot of Util's going to be sent flying forwards. Crew, they're not backing away from this fight. In fact, they want to be the ones to draw that blood up and the bound. This quick scoping, Buzz is able to find the one, and there's no return of that fire, no trade in sight, still alive and kicking. And finally the reinforcements flooding back in and around, but the bullets running out. Buzz, how the hell are you still alive here? Dash, back online, Shorty in his hands, Foxy9 finally there with him. Over the shoulder, leaving it just down to Shy, bullet straight through. And Buzz, the miracle worker,
finally challenged on B, finally delivers. It's not that he was whiffing in earlier rounds, they just weren't coming towards his sight.
Yeah.
And he wasn't being particularly mobile with the op. It's a ridiculously large map. But here you see a bit of what you were talking about earlier, Brent, that form he was demonstrating towards the end of the Pacific playoffs. Get him an op into his hand, and if you challenge him, if you come into him, he's so good at playing around the utility, playing around these angles, and around the way that his teammates are going to flood in, using him as a distraction. Now he's going to take it towards mid, so he's found that success on the west side of the map. Now looks to see if he can bring the sniper rifle to the middle. I don't think he's really going to get the angles here against the Harbor.
No, double smokes, very difficult to get yourself through.
I must wait a moment.
Despite that fact, though, DRX are up in terms of the economy. It's not Crew down. Drone around the mid round here. Util broken with the cam. Taken care of.
Nice and bold from Buzz, getting himself back onto these angles. So much better re-clear of mid this round. But look, it's still going to be a split.
Yeah,
Buzz could definitely ruin this.
It's all about whether or not Buzz can even spot this one out. But again, High Tide works its way across. Crew calling for that pause. Oh my, okay, that is scary stuff. Pushing back and through. Flashback takes the timing pass, but it's watched for, traded out and around. Hunter's Fury up through Heaven. That's a connection onto the two, but they weren't anticipating that the players would hold their ground. It's down to just Heat. Last one left in through A main, but the spike is dropped down, unobtainable. With only 25 seconds to work with. Running short of basically any sort of win cons. He'll contact most of the way, but a discipline of DRX here. It's just watching every approach. Bane catches it. I know where Heat is. Only 8 seconds left. This is a round win for DRX, just about how they play it. And Heat will look to do any sort of damage. Not that it's going to matter too much. At this point, DRX are perfectly happy. Economy is booming. It's flourishing. They're saving for a house, even in this market.
No one's saving for a house in this market.
That's true.
Good luck putting a deposit down with 9K. Crew are going to take a tag time out here. This map starting to get away from them. I actually like the idea that they came into the round with. But you could argue that Buzz has just won 2 rounds in a row for his team. Despite the fact he didn't really get kills in this round, that updraft to get all of the info that it was an A split allowed and encouraged Foxy9 and Bane to stand their ground there despite the Hunter's Fury. If they didn't realize that that play was happening, they probably think that's part of a big A exec. All about the info. And Buzz's confidence ended up paying dividends there.
Yeah.
So there is a reason that DRX have been selecting Abyss, but it's so difficult to know how good teams genuinely are on this map.
It's a wildcard map heading into Champs. It really is.
Even if you've played a lot of it, there just isn't that much data, and the regions haven't played against each other, so even if you're confident on it yourself, it does feel risky for a team like DRX to pick it actively here. And one of the interesting things about the map Veto today is that Crew floated their permaban bind, ended up going all the way to the end. But one of the advantages of floating your permaban is that they got to remove DRX's 2 best maps. So that is the benefit. So you're seeing DRX here playing on some more of the maps that are in like the middle of their pool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Punish Front and Haven, but actually working out quite nicely here on Abyss so far.
It's not like DRX are slouches, I think, on Bind as well. They are a good team on that one, but it is scary when you see a team that normally has their permapan and they floated it all the way towards the end. It basically screams, we've set up a bit of a trap play, or an anti-strat.
Yeah. At the same time, though, DRX are really good there, so very solid team on Bind.
Yeah.
Crew are putting such an emphasis on the middle of the map, trying to get value out of this harbor. DRX, their players are being drawn into this area, but it's not like Crew have been able to exploit that by exploding into sites.
Yeah, they have been dragging, as you mentioned, players to watch it, even potentially going for a contact re-clear.
This is wild.
Foxy9 is alone when he sees this one. Only the one play, it's Kesnet jumping, hopping around, but the fact that there was no punish should be a tell in itself. There's that solo player flash peek as well, Kesnet. Might see a bit of an overheat as well. He's still got plenty more util where that comes from. TPing all over the place here, but calling for that pause and a different angle for Buzz, but still the same value. This guy has got that consistency when you put that up into his hands. And considering the dart just to get that info, but he spotted one player before the smoke was up, so he knows that there's at least some presence into this mid angle. Again, they've called for that reinforcement. Buzz, though, smoked off now. In for the wall, he's going to hear these footsteps right past him. Wilted away, and there aren't really enough discipline in terms of the way the Crew are playing this one, but potentially able to barrel their way through regardless with that brute force. It is chaos. The spike is just isolated, picked up by Kesnet. TP's back and away again. Anchoring players, not expecting it. Flashback. That's nasty.
Crew are trying everything they can, working the middle of the map, more than most teams would on Abyss, and DRX stands strong. Buzz is AWPing. As soon as they got that into his hands, and as soon as he actually got the read on which areas of the map Crew were going to challenge, it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
It has shifted the momentum in this map massively. And playing different angles, too. He was just trying to post up on that classic high ground on B. Now he's playing all the way back in Heaven, then maneuvering his way over towards mid.
Mixing up a decent amount. Crew going for that 1-1-3. This is really risky, but Bane comes out on top anyway. He was in no man's land and in no position to get a kill either, yet still comes up with it. A nasty adjustment.
Termi was worried about the firepower diff, but I think with the performances we've seen in these last few rounds from the DRX players, not something to be concerned about. Actually, I think it was more so the flood defending from Crew that Termi wasn't given enough credit to be honest, in that coach's interview, which we'll see whether that has impact in this game once the sides swap.
Exactly.
But for the moment, not really getting much value out of this. Are they going to try to commit Harbor ult here? It's good against an Opper, but Buzz dodged it last time.
Yeah, drone's going to be used at least to, again, circumvent that position. But Flashback is caught by the knife here. And as well, that golden beam of light up and over. Flashback is forced to make that play. Pushing forwards is traded. Hunter's Fury used to try and help them out. Buzz as well, he tried to get back into the action. He's dropped as a result of it. Now, the plant position isn't the best here. Playing to the side of Cliff. Means that Crew do have to commit a lot of bodies to try and hold on to side control. That does leave an opening for DRX. They've saved some util. It's in their back pocket. The dart and a paranoia. MTA in the off angle. Needs to be that trade. Shy. He joins up, links it all the way through. Bane spotted up onto that high ground. Has to know what his last two players are. But now, wrapping around once more. Slowly as you go. But a real difficult round to win. Set up here. Shy taking that first one. Knows there's a player tucked. Again, the off angle will not save you, but again, time is of the essence, and it's starting to tick away out of the grasp of Bane. Win cons diminishing, and with, yeah, I mean, that's gone with a circle just shrinking. And Shy wins it out regardless of the kill at the end.
Similar game plan from Crew, except less focused towards mid. Pure site exec, overwhelm behind the Reckoning. But this time, the important thing being that Buzz didn't find too much value. He's in a spot where, in theory, he might be able to get 1, 2 playing around that.
Yeah, okay. God.
Back to the operator for Buzz.
And another big test, but this time, DRX.
Massive stack.
Yeah, hell of a read. They've got 4 players waiting.
They've been putting the site. Oh, they're doing the flash and dash play.
Flash and dash play to try and fight for that control early on into the cloudburst, but the dart doesn't reveal too much. And Buzz, yeah, I mean, he handed over towards that weaponry. Players have dropped, though. That was Mako committing an ult into Spawn at the same time. And he's going to be paying the price for that. So the slow play, I mean, you really have to overextend yourselves as a defender to try and fight over that B main angle, as you saw, and it ends up meaning that DRX was stretched a little bit too thin.
I assume that DRX have chosen this round because they were worried about the null command that MTA's just popped. You don't want to allow Crew to get into position and just exec on you with this ult. So they tried to disrupt the game plan. Fortunately, doesn't quite work for them. Can they recover here?
Yeah, they're right back into it. Flashback, though, backs away, just only with the 1 kill. He wants to play for his life, and he knows it. At least with the teammates who are arriving, but not expecting that Melter's already crept up onto that deeper angle. Shy, finally with the plan, there's no chance in hell MTA is getting a res online, so he's going to be dropped just post-mortem. Bane, high ground angle reset, at least enough to get the 2, and Flashback dropped down into that 1v2, not enough. Can't overcome it. Crew with that discipline, doubling up and contacting together to win that round out 5-4.
Good reaction at the end there with the double swing. 1 wide, 1 shallow. Make it very difficult for DRX to win the round. How did Mako end up dying in Spawn? That is such a bizarre one. He's just trying to make use of the distraction as the fast push came out B. Like you said, to Omen ult into Spawn. that's an interesting idea. Doesn't quite work. So far, the success from DRX has come from trying to hard anchor sites.
Has to get broken here. Glide its way forwards. Knife does not get broken, so Buzz wanted away from the angle. He'd love to be back up on top of him. But
and Crew walk away from Buzz.
Yeah.
The player with the op who's been ruining our chances of getting into sight. So I think we'll go the other way, actually.
Completely different angle.
Heat looking to maybe invest the drone here to fake as if it could be over towards B. But the team's grouping up on A. Look how weak the A site is right now. Only Mako home.
And DRX aware of that, though. The drone clears most of the way through B main. 55 seconds onto the mark. Crew could call a cancel, but with how big the map is, Knife tagging just onto the 1.
Only 1. And now, as the drone comes out from Heat, surely they don't group up A on defense.
It could be false confidence for DRX. They do have the crossfire. Mako, paranoia. They know he's isolated onto that corner, spamming away into the 1-way. MTA, he can't respond and he can't back his teammate up. They are trying to fight this one. Pound for pound. Mako, he's just swinging into this one with really barely any util. Left 4 and Buzz happy to oblige and take part into the action and fight. And up through mid as well. Everyone dealt with, everyone accounted for. A flawless round for DRX.
Good read from Mako there. Newer to the IGL role, but reading out that that drone coming towards B was a fake, didn't over-rotate. In fact, took the aggressive option himself, made sure that they were playing towards the choke, made sure it was impossible for Crew to get through. Looked like there was potential there for DRX to let this lead slip, but they've recovered. Minimum of 6 at the half is so much better than the way that they opened here at Champs. And of course, huge economy advantage heading into this.
Yeah, it's been Crew consistently on that back foot. A lot of players tagged, at least the 2 as well. Crew still just trying to brute force their way past this one into the one-way, but rivals in hands. DRX will hold this one. You're not going to be favored there. There's no util to set up DRX into any sort of advantage. Or at least Crew, I should say.
I think that's a spot where Crew should probably be investing smokes. Seems weird to smoke off your own avenue, but just to take a little bit of control. That's a headshot. Knocks Bane down weak. Could there still be danger in the 3v5?
Yeah, you don't want to let this one slip, do you? But seems like they're grabbing necessary kills across the map. Not sure how that one came about here, but Cove makes it difficult. Flashback's already way ahead of it in a distraction play. Bane capitalizes. This is a much better beginning, as we already mentioned in our prior round for DRX on this map here. It's flawless. They got that momentum back at least as well. And, you know, I was feeling rattled from this team. I was wondering if they were going to be able to pick themselves back up with so many players, you know, pushed into new roles themselves, despite the fact that they're veterans like Mako on the IGL, but all of these new rookie players, despite the fact that they've been playing in front of the home crowd for most of this year regionally. It is a difference maker when they are at the biggest event of the year.
They still have one final test to get over, though. 7 rounds is good at the half, but Crew are now coming in with that Harbor ult, Sova ult. It's a great combo. It's very effective. Got to imagine they're going to use it here on one of the sites.
Careful.
It's a battle towards this main angle. No one dealt with the dart.
Oh, what a play from DRX. That is absolutely lovely. Reminiscent of what teams will sometimes do in that Ascent A main play. DRX have taken all of the sting out of this round. The Reckoning down instantly. The teleport up recon so that you can get kills through your smoke. Yeah, Buzz falls. Crew have been able to find kills like this in the 3v5 spots, but normally the damage has already been done too early.
Yeah, and DRX have been usually tempered enough that when these sites get pressured, especially over towards B, doesn't matter. They're going to be able to get a kill, back away.
Wow, my eyes are down.
Never overextending their hands here. Flashbacks gets that acknowledgement. Cage are going to be put back up here. Shock darts removing most of the trips. Knife for a knife, darting through the back as well. Needs to be broken here. Crew starting to walk their way back up, but again, all the noise is being made, and DRX should know this one. Adjustment, Flashback, he was blind as a bat, yet still manages to come up with the one before the trade online. Kesnit, it's just an ult to try and pick up the spike. It was out into the middle of nowhere. A tap with 22 seconds left, but you've got to start to commit into this, and again, ice cold by DRX. Happy to slow it down, and now the full commit by Kesnit. Paranoia makes his way across, leaves it just down to the one. Kesnit backs himself away. He's hoping that he'll be able to get that easy fight. Singular in action. Does isolate just the one onto Foxy9, but it's still a 1v2 to overcome. Smoke up into the one way, but one for their own here. Jumping around. A tap. There's the danger zone. Kesnit in potentially a bit of trouble. The dart pushes him back and away in, and up for Bane to just get that half. Sticking and grabs it.
Too much health for Bane. Kesnit, a valiant effort, but DRX get 8. What a different beginning compared to Haven. I thought there was a chance that DRX capitulated there, but they've done such a good job during that gap between map 1 and map 2 at regaining their mental. And what a play here.
Yeah, what a play as well. This is a much better beginning for this second map here. We'll be finding out if they can keep that going as well if we end up going to that map number 3.
Red Bull gives you wings.
We'll be getting back into the second half here shortly. As the teams have their mandatory half-time, they can discuss, they can talk about it. But for now, DRX are going to be feeling real good about this. Crew, you know, Mimi kind of mentioned onto the desk of their composition. We haven't really talked Crew that much because honestly the full focus has been on DRX, rightfully so, with how they've been able to bounce back. But you know, this Harbor pick, you might start to see a bit more value from it this time around. They were getting brutalized when Crew ended up playing against Leviathan. Mazzino taking all sorts of liberties, just using the high tide to walk himself down mid. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to be taking a page out of that book.
They can definitely take mid control, but we saw them take mid control on their attack side and it not find very much value. Here on the pistol, Crew have got 4 players stacked on A. They're not going to be able to do any aggressive flash and dash combo stuff. Feels more like a read that DRX would be heading in this direction on the pistol. It leaves B extremely weak. And what we saw from Crew was success with flood retaking. You can't flood defend if you're not close to the site that's being hit. This map is enormous. If DRX went for a B exec right now, Crew would still be migrating.
Yeah.
The Great Western Push.
It is. It's massive. Rotation timings are a big problem for a lot of teams. There's a kill trip that's laid down, even though there's a heaven smoke. But by walking all the way up, DRX are able to navigate it easily enough. Going for the plant down. It's a good plant spot too. Committed into the boxes. It's very strong into the post plant. You can allow most of DRX now to retreat into the main angle.
Crew are trying to retake here with no flashes.
And they're just trying to make a go of it. They've already made their way in through the site. And watching that one, Flashback gets taken care of. In through mids, and a peek by Foxy9 is not set up at all. Buzz trying to at least even out the odds of the fight to be taken. Again, doesn't adjust in time up through that heaven spot. And now Melter sticking at the fuse, spamming into the angle, but a Cove defending against most of these bullets. Half is earned. Another smoke. Blooms and blossoms. Kesnet with the kill, and a judgment again. Flick of the wrist, tapping away with the guns, and it has to be reclaiming it. Bane backing up and running into it. Oh my goodness! That's 4 from him. And a pistol round once more garnered for this DRX team.
Bane, a divine blessing for DRX towards the end. How's he managed to pull that one away? Crew looked like they had that under wraps. They're still trying to play this retake style. I don't think they should have been using as much util early in the round. It would have been nice to see them still have a Paranoia or a Breach Flash. A KO Flash to be able to retake there on B. But the way that they just play around each other, it's solid. It took everything from DRX to be able to repel that. A 4K from Bane. Crew is still putting a really heavy emphasis over towards A. 4 players beginning on that side of the map. Feels like VOD prep to me.
Yeah. Potentially just praying for an early skirmish as well when they're on the eco.
Alternatively, they might be very confident in their B retakes from scrims and less confident on A, but that would be a weird way to play the map.
Yeah, most of the time you see teams trying to fend towards the backside of A. A Crew have rooted themselves in, at least for this round. It's a gamble stack, of course, and DRX are going to be handed a nice open sight over towards B.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be any danger here. We're seeing Mako's calling, be very cautious though, doesn't want to run into any of these stacks. Foxy flashes, looking to see if he can get some info.
Might hand over a gun if he's not careful.
I don't like this. You normally want to be sending Flashback to do that because he's the one with the ghost.
30 seconds left.
You've just prime delivered them a Bulldog.
Yes. And it's not ideal despite that. I mean, DRX, they have an open sight, still planting for Cliff. I'm going for something potentially a little bit better for it, but
Camera, I must wait a moment.
Crew now grouping up, ready. Try and make a good go of it. The cam was saved just for a rainy day, and that was now, so they get that information that there's 2 players from DRX out through into the back. Got to wait for these smokes now to get pushed up into the position. 1 flash held. We'll see if there's any danger very soon here for Crew. Drone used, time already running short here, but that Bulldog finding value. It's up to these site anchoring players. Mako trying to reposition up and around, and again, Kesnet a tap onto it. No way, you can't let this. You squandered an opportunity, not again. Kesnet sticking, half everybody's fallen, but the time is on their side. Crew with a thrifty win.
Now, I don't want to point to the fact that there was a bulldog for the retaking team, but it did find a bit of value there.
Oh, yeah, it found the opening kill, man.
And again, another post plant over towards B that looked very difficult, this time impossible for DRX to hold on to.
Oh, boy.
If they're going to be planting safe like this every time, their post plants need to be better. They need to be able to stop Crew from getting back in. It's only been pistols in their hand and a donated bulldog. The rifle rounds might be very worrying here.
Kesnet is not one to back away from a fight and a challenge. He's trying to get that back up again by MTA, overextending and overcommitting.
He pulled his knife out like he was the most confident player in the world. There was only 3 there. Could not be more surprised to see extra players. He was like, what, I haven't aced already?
He's damaged up, worse for wear, but still surviving here. Drone spotting the last 2. See if it bites them, handing over to Guardian. Flashback's already dropped though, so very little chances of this now as well. Foxy9 will be shortly following suit.
Denying another one of the Kesnet aces. So Rifles finally come on board. Round 16. We're seeing both teams with good economies. I'm concerned if DRX go into another B exec. That is where they're grouping up on the minimap. But these post plants have been... They've been rough.
Yeah,
they haven't even been pressuring the Crew retake. They just give them all the space in the world to run back into the site, and then they're like, oh, whoopsie daisy, now we have to stop them from defusing.
And yeah, just looks like a lot of exec util. Everything being combined. Concatenated, Shido just takes a bullet to the side there. Thought he was safe, at least into his cage. And now Crew have much less options in terms of trying to deal with this one. They won't be able to push back the plant.
Better
That's going to go down, and it is a better plant at that. So DRX holding their positions now. The flank from Kesnet will have to find value, and he does have options to at least get past the initial trip. Drone in and through, spotted. Buzz out, tagged up, pushing them back and away. There's still no 2 of these players here, but that's being heard by Flashback, and he deals with the flank. Pesky problem with Kesnet, dealt with now. Flash in through the back as well, and bullets to follow through off the back of it. Hunter's Fury forced to be used here, but a knife is going to be cancelling that one out, so no, oh no, just out of range. I stand corrected, and a tap of the spike will force them out wide. MTA now got to do the most, but with the rifle in his hand, just not enough to get over that barrier. Still heat, adjustment, Snappy, tapping away, can't quite get it, the easy kill! Time was never on his side.
Tragedy or a comedy, depending on which side of the table you want to sit on there, who you're rooting for, DRX or Crew. This time, though, that different plant position, in my opinion, makes all the difference. And yeah, they still had Hunter's Fury to work with in the post, too. But the fact that you're planting in that better spot, more open, that you can play both sides of the pillar, people on site can play around as well, it's super helpful to have it in that kind of position. Crew are going to take a tactical timeout. They're down 4 rounds. The score 6-10. It's not like they've even really been able to make a recovery in this half. This half, the score is still 2-2. Another rifle round. Another opportunity to knock DRX's economy as well. If Crew can really come out here and get a big result on their defense side, they've got a null command to work with. Maybe that will make the difference for them on a retake. Then they can start chipping away at this lead. It's certainly not over yet.
Yeah.
But I think this next round effectively decides the map.
Oh yeah, it's very important. You consider DRX full investment with the economy. You know, losing here, they don't have the loser's bonus earned up at this point because they just won the prior round. So the economy will be knocked. They'll be able to string together those rounds if they win it. Has to be all in from Crew. Now, I'm cheating a little bit. I can see the player positions of Crew in through this timeout. They have stacked most of their team over towards A at this point.
The same thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the problem. The reason I said earlier that it would be a weird way to play the map the whole time, stacking 4A, playing retake B, is because it's just so readable. In the end, DRX, yes, Mako's new to the IGL role. Yes, they have 3 rookies. They're not stupid. They're a really competent team. They're here at Champs. They're going to be able to figure out a setup like that if you run it the same way every time.
Paranoia to come on position there. It's going to be catching most of this one and draft. Oh my god, just dashing into the face of it. Yeah, full understanding that Shy was going to be backing away. There's only a few positions he can play. Flashback looking up through mid. There's supposed to be that instant response from Crew as well. Alt are being committed with the no command sweeping through, but he's missed the chance to strike from behind.
Patience!
Yeah, it's not being played just in that moment here, but MTA dropped down to his knees. A res possibility for it. DRX did get that plan a little bit prior. As there, tap onto the spike, forcing out most of the util. Kisnet smokes to play with, util on top of it. Nades rebounding, echoing pass, flashback, stepping up to the challenge. Right past most of this fight. Meltzer not able to stick this one, sprayed and spammed down onto that angle. Heat trying to get tricky with it again, pushing and forcing the issue, but Buzz, the timing is impeccable. Down reveals Kisnet is alone and not enough to overcome.
And the round that may decide the map goes the way of DRX. Crew out of the back of the tactical timeout. Didn't look like they'd adjusted too much there. They were lucky to get away with it, not get caught by that mid lurk. The DRX looking like they're making the adjustments that are doing the job. Wow. Shy adjusted his positioning, but Buzz was on top of his head within the first 10 seconds of the round.
Yeah. It's because of the knife they've been conditioning with. They've been using it against the box, so Shy hasn't been able to anchor the back of the side position.
I think Shy should be playing essentially off-site at this point.
Yeah, retake, maybe up heaven.
And I think he should have been doing that in the previous round as well. They're just running very, very similar defensive setups over and again. I'm seeing the timer not ticking towards the top there.
Timer pause, and I start to get worried.
Yeah, and here's
because of that.
And here's the tech pause.
Where's the game?
Ah, well, we seem to have identified the problem.
Yes, that's a problem. You do need the game open to play.
Yeah, yeah. Some of my ranked teammates haven't figured that out yet. Yeah. Game on, monitor on.
Checklist. Got to run through before you jump into ranked.
Keyboard plugged in.
Yes.
Brain working. Mouth working.
Yes,
all
that
important.
Too. Yep,
all important.
All important.
Well, this does give a little bit of time then for Crew to, you know, take themselves out of the game and all ponder. They're not allowed to speak to each other, but all ponder in their own way how they might try to adjust this and get back in. Their buy is rough. They've got 2 Guardians, and they don't really have that same opportunity to break DRX's economy. They can do some real damage to it if they win here, but they have to win here. They have to stop DRX from getting up to 12. Otherwise, it's curtains. And I'm not convinced the Crew have come out with the correct adaptations out of their tac timeouts. I don't think their read on it, on their defense side, is that fleshed.
Yeah.
Over time, over the course of the tournament, maybe it'll get there. But right now, it's looking like they're a step behind DRX.
It starts at the basics to a large degree, I think, as well, because DRX, they've earned up these big ults. At least the no command is a massive one. Trying to pay attention at least to the setup. Obviously, the players not able to talk to each other during a tech pause. Not sure if they're even allowed to move.
What, like their physical?
No, not physically. I mean, they can listen. They can maneuver. No, well, actually, is that a strat that teams need to employ? Sign language in the future? Communication during tech pause. Am I putting ideas into their heads?
The Atreides battle language.
I am a nightmare for compops. I think I'm an absolute nightmare.
Right. Well, now Riot's going to have to hire somebody who's fluent in sign language to make sure that Kisnet and Heat aren't discussing strategy in the middle of these games. What have you done?
Okay. To me, man. I don't know.
Getting back into it then. This is do or die for Crew. This really is the last chance for them to adjust the setups. And they have made a bit of a swap. Shy is now playing off-site towards B. They've got 2 players there on the B side of the map ready to support. This is finally them threatening mid-control.
Yeah, which we thought they were going to do.
We thought they were going to do tons of this. This is the first round where we've really seen it. Is it too little too late?
Bullets flying past Melzer. It's his teammates trying to make it feel like there is still obviously presence at the top of the site. There's nobody that's lurked up. Trust me, guys, Melzer's not pushed up in this spot. Difficult one. Ult committed. That's an interesting one, yeah. I mean, Maka's right through this, and the timing taken right past them here. And this is going to be a squeeze and a pinch into these A anchoring players. MTA dropped straight to the floor here. Hunter's Fury being used to again push them back. Heat will be able to get at least some value from that with Mako falling. Flashback holding off angle. Claims to kill onto Melzer. And DRX to kill feed that is filled up with red, at least for now. Kisnet traded. And so all the options that at least were present, available, moved shortly after here for Crew. Not able to hold their ground onto that one.
And brutal. I mean, look at the webcam for Heat.
Yeah.
It looks like he's had a tech issue again. That is a brutal one. A tilter, too, because damage already done in the round. Listen, I don't work for Compops, but the rules, as I understand them, are that you're not going to replay a round like this.
Not if there's been damage done.
He was also in a 1v3, so from our outside perspective, very unlikely for that to be a winning scenario for him. It looked like DRX were massively in control of the round. But as a player in that spot, you're feeling like your agency has been taken away. That's the kind of stuff that puts you on tilt. After you won 13-2 on the previous map.
It's a tilter.
I feel like I'm talking about the mentality of both of these teams a lot, but you heard it from the desk too. This crew squad, they live and die by their emotions.
They do.
They are such an emotion-driven, fierce, red-hot team when things are working. And then stewing on themselves, getting a little frustrated when things are not working. And there's nothing more frustrating for a player than a situation like this. And they're also, economy's boomed. They're down 6 rounds. DRX are winning this map.
Yeah, it's 12-6. They are winning this map. You can say with most confidence. Doesn't matter how wrong I've been so far in this tournament. I'm saying with a lot of confidence they should be winning this map.
Yeah, they should be. And so now you're thinking ahead to Bind, just to trickle some of that kind of stuff in there. It has been a map that's looked regionally very solid for DRX. Crew's permaban recently too.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns.
So we're expecting that to be a bit of a trap where Crew have got something prepared, but what? How good it is, we have no idea. And DRX historically have not actually been able to translate success on Bind into international success on Bind.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in the back of your mind too. Has looked good in Pacific, but is it good enough to be able to get wins here at Champions?
So I'm just thinking ahead about it. I mean, from the prep that I've done, at least, of watching DRX on Bind, I'm assured and shy of the mark, at least in some of the matchups, you know, when they're going up against Gen G, who a lot of people pen as the favourites of the event, right? So it's Gen G.
Gen G are ridiculous.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt, but they've had, you know, close losses in that regard. And it's a very fleshed out map for them as well. So yeah, I'm looking at Crew and I'm wondering what exactly could they possibly have been cooking up.
You can see just in the body language here from Crew.
Yeah, that it's tapped out a little bit.
A little resigned, frustrated. They'll give it their all, I'm sure, in these last few rounds, however many end up being played. Now, potentially.
Yeah.
Could go on forever, couldn't it?
Now, if DRX really wanted to boom them, they'd queue up a timeout right now. If we're really getting into like the mental warfare, you know, thinking about sign language advantage during tech pauses, I'm trying to, you know, evolve the coaching game here. But if I got a timeout called after all of this and I was Heat, I would lose it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, is Termi that cruel?
If we see it, DRX are winning this event.
I mean, Termi has been known to not call tack timeouts sometimes when his team are down.
That's true.
If he ended up sending one here.
Listen, he's got rid of the suit. He's turned a new leaf.
He has relaxed. He's stopped benching Foxy9.
Yes, he's given him a chance to play.
Yeah.
Which is a point that we haven't really spoken about too much, mainly because Foxy9 has been on this map, he's been supplementing, he's been helping out, he's been there, he's been present.
Yeah,
prior map he wasn't.
Hasn't taken over the game. But
exactly.
The last time that Foxy9 played an international, he's not a brand new rookie to these global events. Foxy9 was at Tokyo. But I would forgive you for not remembering, because he only played 2 matches. He went 1-1 and then he got benched.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a theme, a running theme of last year's DRX. As they kept subbing people out and rotating the roster. A lot of questions about DRX, but they ended up settling onto this squad with a lot of rookie talent that they believe in, and their development and their scouting has been good. I think Foxy9 may be towards the bottom of the list of good, brand new, you know, great players that they've integrated into their team. But if you think back, Mako was a duelist main that they integrated into the Smokes role and brought up. So they do have a fantastic history of being able to concoct talent and build for the future.
Yeah, they really do. And a lot have been asked, I think, at a veteran presence and talent on DRX. Buzz, as an individual who I was highlighting. Now, I'm going to steal an asset from the desk, which I'm sure they've called in and prepped. Which is the Buzz Ob highlights, because this guy has been taken over when he had that weapon in his hands, at least on the defensive half. And for me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit upset watching map 1 because the guy he didn't have it. He was kind of getting diffed in that regard by Kesnid, but this time showing up back into that stage 2 playoff form.
Yeah, and putting on some real excellent performances back here. Dancing around, dodging a lot of utility, and stinging like a bee when it comes down to it.
Exactly, but if Buzz is putting up numbers like this as well, it helps the whole team, because you got to think with the amount of just turbulence that this team has had throughout this year. Hello, we're back in camera.
Hello.
Wasn't expecting that, but that's okay. It's okay. Always ready for it. But yeah, with the amount of turbulence that this team has had over the course of the year, it's up to the veterans to pick up the pieces sometimes when morale gets low, when things aren't
yeah,
really
you know,
together.
It's interesting you say that, because DRX internally have talked quite a lot about people like Bane being uplifting for the team and being that breath of fresh air that they needed to be able to turn the ship around and focus on a new identity and bring that positive energy. It would be, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and a fly that spoke Korean on the wall in the back end between map 1 and map 2, because, you know, who is it that's there helping DRX maintain their mental with all of these players that have had some experience regionally, but, you know, when you're looking at Flashback and Bane,
there we go.
To be honest, Foxy9, not as much experience.
Yeah.
We're back.
We are back. We are back. And, yeah, at this point, staring down the inevitable, which is DRX most likely walking away with this map. They are grouped up. They are ready to go, raring to go over towards A. It's a slow wait, seeing if the knife gets used, but the timing of it is awkward, so it is going to catch most of them here. Pushing them back and away. And they want nothing to do with A now, not that they showed at least presence towards that area of the map. Maybe that was always part of the game plan.
Shy is pushing up. So this is the first time we've seen Shy go aggressive on defense over here.
Yeah, might be able to at least get a kill. There's a fight about to be taken while mid is being pushed.
Flashback's going to miss that.
Yeah. Backing around. It's a real awkward one. Jump spots abound. Up through the ropes. There it is. Flashback strikes. And with Shy down, so goes the setup over towards B. So no command not even necessary. And he's really just done enough. It's 2 removed. Heat. He was running his wee little legs there as fast as humanly possible. But at this point, it's weakening out the defenders. Player spotted out over towards the A side. There is time still available, and with all this space gained and pushed up, vacuumed up here. Flashback even with that third. It's cracked open a side and essentially won them the map with that.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't curtains already for Crew, that lurk play and those kills have certainly driven the dagger into the heart.
Yeah.
Kesnet and MTA looking to pick up the pieces. Ooh. And it's a 4K, possibly on for the ace here as well. Can MTA shut it down, or are DRX going to be thrown into bind?
MTA survives, Flashback's on 5L, running his way around. No ace today. But it is inevitable. MTA just making us all wait for a little bit. He's going to give it a good go, but already, look at the angles to account for here. I mean, Buzz has already just taken up this position into Spawn Bladestorm right behind him. Let's knives out. He's behind him. He's toying with him. He's walking up right behind him. Oh, no, 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 no. It's like a horror movie. But 13-6 for the finish. Map 3 bind, ready and waiting.
And if there was ever a final kill in a map that showed you a team has recovered from being battered in map 1, reset their mental, and are feeling perfectly confident, literally toying with the final player.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, DRX have definitely pulled themselves back up. The momentum now firmly behind them. The morale turned around. We're going to be sending it to a break on the other side the rest of the series.
shadow, trying to find